Okay, looks like everything's streaming good. I wanted to show you this article. It's from the Atlantic, as you can see up here in the top center. The alarming scope of the president's emergency powers. Now, this article, which you can read the entire thing on my website, I'm just going to go through the important stuff with you. This article is directed at President Trump, which is very deceptive because these presidential powers have been in place since at least Eisenhower, if not before. FDR, probably right in there. You can't read it down at the bottom. I may be able to get it larger for you. Let me see if I can get it larger for you. The alarming scope of the president's emergency powers, from seizing control of the internet to declaring martial law, President Trump may legally do all kinds of extraordinary things. And the reason I'm doing this broadcast is because of the coronavirus. Okay, let me get to the important. Let me get this down for a second so I know where I'm at. Whoops. Okay. The moment the president declares a national emergency, a decision that is entirely within his discretion, he is able to set aside many of the legal limits on his authority. And I'm not going to go through all the stuff here. Here's a loaded weapon. Basically, what's going on here, folks, is martial law. They're probably never going to use the word martial law. There are many forms of martial law. But when you lose your rights and your freedoms, that's martial law. Let's see. Congress can suspend the writ of habeas corpus, that is, allow government officials to imprison people without judicial review. When in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it and provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union. Notorious examples include Franklin D. Roosevelt's internment of U.S. citizens and residents of Japanese descent during World War II. Okay, now this FDR internment of U.S. citizens. Those are called concentration camps, folks. And FDR himself called these concentration camps. George W. Bush's program of warrantless wiretapping and torture after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Let me go on through this. Like I said, I just want to get you the important stuff. Look at this. 30, 30 states of emergency are in effect today in the United States. We're under a state of emergency 33 times. State of emergency is another word for martial law. Now, they may not, go to the extreme, but that's not the point. The point is that the plans are in place, so if they ever wanted to do it, they could do it. I'm going to show you a video here in a second that will show you some of the powers. Another word for martial law is continuity of government. An internet kill switch. Like all emergency powers, the law governing the conduct of war, allowing the president to engage in conduct that would be illegal during ordinary times. It's called martial law, folks. This conduct includes familiar incidents of war, such as the killing or indefinite detention of enemy soldiers. The president could seize control of U.S. internet traffic, impeding access to certain websites and ensuring that internet searches return pro-Trump content as the top result. Now, if you're just joining me, this article focuses on Trump, but that is very deceptive because this has been in place since, I want to say, at least since FDR, and probably even before that. So when you read the thing, just dismiss the thing about Trump. All presidents, including Trump. The Communications Act allow the president to shut down or take control of any facility or station for wire communications. I want to get to that video for you. In fact, let me go ahead. I'm going to have to play it. Emergency powers are ripe for abuse. And I want to play you just a little bit of this.
For instance, during a national emergency, the president can shut down radio stations or take them over. If there's a threat of war, he can go further and take over facilities for wire communication. That law was last used during World War II, when most American households didn't even have a telephone. Today, it could be interpreted to allow the president to assert control over internet traffic inside the United States.
Okay, I've got to pause that. It gives, once they declare martial law, state of emergency, continuity of government, there's many names and many forms, but they all boil to the same thing. If it's declared, which it already has been 33 times, and they're still in effect, you're basically in a dictatorship at that point, folks. You have lost all your rights. Let me just go on through here and sanctioning Americans. Next to war powers, economic powers might sound benign, but they are among the president's most potent legal weapons. International emergency economic powers, which think about the coronavirus while I'm telling you all this. It gives the president unbelievable powers. I'm just going to go on through here, folks, and I know I'll probably miss some stuff, but I just wanted to give you an idea. Americans might be surprised to learn just how readily the president can deploy troops inside the United States. Boots on Main Street. The idea of tanks rolling through the streets of U.S. cities seems fundamentally inconsistent with the country's notion of democracy and freedoms. And here's some words for you to research. Posse comitatus. The military should never be engaged with the police. Okay, let me go a little more, folks. Let me see where I'm at. I didn't realize it was this long. Kindling an emergency. What would the founders think of these and other emergency powers on the books today in the hands of a president like Donald Trump? Okay, I'm not going to get into all that. And once again, if you're just joining in, this article from The Atlantic focuses on Trump's presidential powers. That's very deceptive. It's been going on at least since FDR. Okay. For people just in, let me read this one more time. The alarming scope of the president's emergency powers, from seizing control of the internet and much, much more than that, communications, everything you can think of, they will take control of. Declaring martial law at the bottom of this article. Declaring martial law. And once again, anytime you hear state of emergency, lockdown, quarantine, continuity of government, those are forms of martial law. Now I can hope you see what dangerous state that we're in right now. Okay, that's it. And once again, folks, you can read the full article on my website. Thank y'all for watching.